This is our first time in Greece, and instead of rushing straight to the islands like most travelers do, we decided to slow down and spend 3 full days right here in Athens. We wanted to see what the city is really like, beyond the quick stopovers and day tours. So, with 3 days to explore and trying to soak in the rhythm of everyday life here, the big question remains, was it worth the stop? And more importantly, is Athens worth your time before heading to the islands?
Good morning, beautiful people from the city of Athens. We have finally made it to Greece after 3 years of traveling, and we are so excited to be here. Some people recommend skipping in. Well, we are going to find out for ourselves whether or not it's worth it. And of course, today we're going to get started straight away with the top things to do here in Athens. Right behind us, I don't know if you can see, up on that mountain through that arch is actually the Acropolis. So we booked in a tour with Alternative Athens, and we're about to go head up to the Acropolis now. So far, doing a group tour has been definitely the right choice, because we would have been walking through here. We'd have no idea what we're looking at.
What's really impressive is the amount of words we're learning that are from ancient Greek. And for example, auditorium or audio has come from audit, which is music in ancient Greek.
Actually, one of the funnest ones we learned was, obviously, as I said earlier, that this was, Greece was the birthplace of democracy. But even that word comes from the Greek language. So demos actually means people, and kratos means power, which is the people are the power, and that's where democracy comes from. We're about to walk through the Acropolis to the Temple of Athena. Acropolis in Greek basically means the gate, and the most enormous marble columns I think I've ever seen in my life. It's insane. Absolutely gorgeous. It's stunning.
Is the modern additions.
The Temple of Athena.
Oh,
Isn't that a Temple of Athena?
no, Temple of Athena is there.
Oh, what's that? The Parthenon.
All right, guys.
Acropolis.
We're gonna learn. We have a guide.
Even though this isn't the largest temple on the Acropolis, it's the most important temple because they worship Athena as their patron goddess.
We just wrapped up the tour with Alternative Athens, and honestly, if you are going to go to the Acropolis, I highly recommend doing it with a tour. Max and I were saying we spent so much time there and we learned so much about Greek mythology and the history and why things were like they were that we just wouldn't have gotten if we didn't have a tour guide. We would have been able to see the beautiful sights, but we wouldn't have known any meaning behind it. So it's definitely worth a tour. And our tour guide was amazing. He's an actual archaeologist, guys, which was very impressive. So we will drop a link below for Athenian tours, or just scan this QR code that's on the screen now if you want to do that tour. Highly recommend. We're actually jumping on another tour with them tomorrow. It's going to be a food tour, so make sure you stay tuned if you're interested in Greek food. Speaking of, we are starving, and our guide kindly recommended a place that we should get gyros around here. He said it is the best, so that's where we're headed now. Alright, we got the gyros recommended by the guide, and actually on the menu, we discovered that they were awarded in the top 100 restaurants in Greece in 2021, I think it was. So pretty good. And also, the street that we took to get here was packed with tourists, and all of those restaurants were packed with tourists. This one has a lot more locals, so I think it was a really good recommendation. This gyros was €4.90. I got lamb. Oh, my mouth is watering. I have to eat it. The tzatziki, it's so fresh. Oh my god. We are making our way towards the neighborhood of Plaka. This is supposed to be the oldest neighborhood in all of Athens. We're in the Monastiraki neighborhood, which is quite touristy because it's just down from the Acropolis. But there's so many little sites around. Actual Athens is just kind of a vibe. So anyway, let's go to Plaka.
Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to our second day here in Athens. Today is another crack of a day. I mean, considering it is early October and it's gonna be 26 degrees. With global warming, you gotta thank off seasons or shoulder season and just come in those time because I cannot imagine what would be like here in peak summer. Anyway, yesterday we did the history. Today we're gonna do the best part. Sorry history, but food is more important according to me at least. And we're gonna do a food tour.
All right, well, they're starting the food tour off perfectly. They know as well, and that we need coffee right away. This is made from the desert people, the Bedouin, the nomadic tribes who would travel through the deserts, and they make it a really unique way because they actually cook the coffee in a pot of heated sand, which is how they cooked it traditionally in the desert. It's very grainy, so not really something I probably would order. I'd probably go for a more modern coffee, but it's great to try the traditional stuff as well.
Can you tell me my portion?
So you saw us yesterday eating gyros, and this time we're trying souvlaki. So basically the difference between gyros and souvlaki, if you're wondering, because we didn't know, is that gyros is the meat that turns around, like that kebab meat that you get from Turkey, whereas souvlaki meat is cooked in a skewer on a grill. So it's actually just the meat that changes it, but it always comes like the pita with your salad and your fries. We're trying a lamb and beef one, and oh my gosh, you guys, actually the meat is so flavorsome and so good. And this is a really big portion. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish because if I eat this whole thing, how am I gonna keep eating the rest of the tour?
Made it to the fish markets.
Fish and meat.
Fish and meat markets. Oh, this is the real deal for a market here.
So I'm actually shocked that this place is so busy because it's almost 1 p.m. and generally fish markets are usually like an early morning thing, but this one is actually bustling, and like the vendors are selling stuff, and they're selling stuff to locals as well. It's not just bustling with tourists. Pretty impressive for a 1 p.m. fish market visit. Yamas. Now this is one thing that we've never done anywhere before. This is an olive oil tasting. We're going to be tasting extra virgin olive oil because apparently that is like the creme de la creme. That's weird. Oh, I don't like it once I breathe in.
Baklava, and apparently this shop sells about a ton of baklava a week. 1 ton. So you can see what's inside there, I guess.
This is the best stuff, obviously, because it's the sweet stuff. So sweet, so syrupy, but not, as you can see, it's not like pooling in syrup. It's like really absorbed, it's perfect. Oh my god, so nice. Because of the time of the year that we're here, it is October, and they've started making these almond nuts and a lot of icing sugar biscuits. These are usually only made during the Christmas time. Oh my gosh, I'm so full, but not too full to fit in another coffee. I do recommend that tour. The food was absolutely delicious. So we will pop a QR code on the screen now that you can scan if you want to check out that tour, and we'll pop a link in the description below as well. We've found ourselves in the National Garden of Athens, which are just directly across from Syntagma Square. We'll put the link for the name of that below because I know I'm pronouncing that very wrong. The gardens are absolutely gorgeous. So They're kind of like botanical gardens, I guess. They're free to enter. And we're using these gardens as a segue to our next site because it's actually on the way.
Sorry to pause the Athens adventure for just a second, but this is actually very important for your next much needed holidays. Because as you can tell, Jacqueline is navigating her way around Athens pretty easily. And that's all good and well when you're already in a city, but what about when you land? When you land in a very chaotic environment, you have no internet, no Wi-Fi, and when you got taxi drivers calling you from every direction, that's when you really need to have a solid internet connection. And that's why I want to thank today's sponsor, AirAllo, for helping us on this video today. Now, if you're not familiar with AirAllo, they actually are the world's first eSIM store. And if you don't know what an eSIM store is, basically a digital SIM card that you download and add to your phone before leaving for your next holidays, so that you have connection the moment you arrive. What that basically means is no physical SIM, no need to look for a kiosk at the airport selling you way overpriced SIM. They offer affordable data plans in over 200 countries, and as you can tell by Jacqueline's ease of navigation, in Greece as well. Now, I know some of you out there are more like the we'll figure out when we land kind of type, and I am guilty as charged, I've done that. But trust me, once you have an eSIM, the moment you land, you're still in the plane, you can organize the taxi, you can organize your reservation. It makes your life so much easier, and trust me, your partner will thank you for having done this before you land. That means no lines, no stress, just instant internet. Most of all, we actually kept our phone number, so the WhatsApp, the iMessage, everything was still exactly the same as back home, so no need to change any sort of settings on that aspect. So if you're heading to Athens or literally anywhere, make sure you download the AirAllo app. And if you want to get yourself a little cheeky $3 discount and support us and our channel, use the code maxandjacqueline, or you can literally just scan the QR code on the screen right there, and yeah, hopefully you have a great time and you're not going to get lost and everything will be smooth. So yeah, thank you so much. Back to Athens. Made it to the Panathinaik
Stadium.
Panathinaik Stadium. And for those that may not be familiar with the name, because we clearly don't, this is where modern time will know it as where the first Olympic stadium ever held was.
For the first Olympic Games.
In 1896. And we've just found out that it's made fully of marble, which is incredible, but basically it's just like a geeky memorabilia thing for me because I love Olympics, and to think that I'm in Athens at the birthplace of Olympics, wow, this is super cool. So we're gonna go and check it out.
So this is like a full-size, modern-size stadium, but made completely of marble. And the reason that's called the Panathinaik Stadium is because originally it was built to hold the Panathinaik Games, which were actually a series of games that were dedicated to Athena, and that is where the idea of the Olympics came from. So it is €10 to enter if you do want to enter, but actually you can pretty much see the entire stadium from here. Today we're going to be exploring the flea market of Athens. I don't really know what to expect about the flea market here, but I did read online that you can buy some nice affordable linen clothing, and because we are going to the islands next, maybe a little linen shirt or something would be nice. But we're just gonna go check it out and explore. Now, we're doing 3 days in Athens, and I would say that you could probably do everything that we've been doing over 3 days in 2 days. It would just be a little bit busier, but we've had a really lovely, relaxed schedule, and so we've not come out until midday today. We've been able to enjoy our morning, and it's just been really nice. So if you're on a tight time budget, 2 days would be more than enough to get everything done, but 3 days if you want some time to relax. The metro is super easy. You just tap on with your debit card or your credit card, and it's super safe and fast, clean. Everything about it's pretty good.
Macedonia.
Macedonia?
Macedonia, toilet.
Okay, at first impression, I thought it was very much like typical t-shirts that you can get at tourist places, but if you go a bit deeper, it does have a bit of antique, and it's quite nice. Very touristic, but still very nice when you actually go a little bit deeper.
So the market's not really a traditional market anymore, which is to be expected because Athens is obviously very touristy at the moment, and it definitely has been. I guess the flea shops have been outnumbered by the made in China shops, which is totally okay. So if you're looking for a quick souvenir, that's definitely the place to go. Okay guys, so on day one, we obviously went to the Acropolis with a guided tour. Now the other half of going and actually visiting the Acropolis is going to the Acropolis Museum, and this is where they house all of the artifacts and artworks and things that were actually up there originally but now live protected in the museum. We're not going to do a guided tour of the museum because the ticket, you can opt to buy an audio guide, which is what we have done instead of paying for a whole guided tour and whatnot. It is kind of an expensive museum when you're dealing with the very terrible Australian exchange rate at the moment. I believe it was $29 per person with the audio guide to get a ticket in. We bought those tickets on Get Your Guide because then we don't have to line up, we get to skip the line, everything just goes straight through nice and smooth. So we'll link those below as well. But normally I would say I'm not a big museum person. I get bored, okay? I get a little bit bored in them. But this is apparently one of the top museums in the world, according to my is it worth going to the Acropolis Museum Google search. So I decided that this is definitely something we should go to. That was one of the most interesting museums I've actually ever been to. I highly recommend going to it after you go visit the Acropolis with a guide, because once you kind of learn a bit more about how it all works and what it's all about, then the museum is actually so much more interesting. And the whole museum is built on top of the old city of Athens from 2,000 years ago. But very much worthwhile. Just don't buy the audio guide option because turns out that's a bit of a scam, and the audio guide at the museum is actually free, and the lady told us that you have to download some other app if you want to get the one that you paid for. So you just don't do that, just get the free one when you get there. And now we're making our way around to a viewpoint that hopefully will be wonderful. Oh my god, there's stairs there, and this is where we came out of the Acropolis the other day.
So you can just come take your photo after you do it.
We thought you had to like come up through the park because that's where we saw some other people walking the other day. We didn't realize you could just come right here. Much easier if you just come right here. Look at this view. Amazing.
Well, beautiful people, our 3 days in Athens is coming to an end, but we're not sad because we're not done with Greece.
But we've actually loved Athens, and I'm not sure if it was just the information that I found, but I found some like negative stuff about Athens online when I was coming here, and people saying like, oh, just skip it or just plan a quick stopover to see the Acropolis and then you can leave. But I actually loved it. I think the vibe here is awesome. I loved the food is absolutely incredible. The vibe's amazing. Doesn't feel like a big city. Everything is such within walking distance. Just really lovely.
Really good city.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to put all of the links in the description for everything that we did. So if you want to do any of that stuff, you can check that out. If you do use our links, some of them have affiliates and we earn a small income off that. So we really appreciate it when you do use our links. And if we haven't mentioned anything about Athens that you're curious about, then just let us know in the comments. We'd be happy to answer.
We will see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.